When I was in high school, I was in the 11th grade maybe. I had this girlfriend. She lived on the other side of town. And I was kind of crazy about her. I mean, she was fine. Woof. I was fairly new in town. I'd only been in town for a few months. I got to Lexington maybe May of my sophomore year. So I'd only been in town a few months. I saw her, she saw me. It was on like street lights. It was on like Donkey Kong. It just instant chemistry. But the more that we hung out, the more she started to kind of pull back and reserve. And then she was canceling, dates and time for us to hang out. And her mood changed. And I didn't understand. Like at first I thought she was cheating on me. And I was like, listen, how? Who? Where we do that at? You done made that up. But what I later found out was that she was sick. Like, for real sick. One of the last times we hung out, like seriously, my junior prom. I didn't go to the prom per se. I spent most of the day out of town hanging out with my peoples and my cousin in Louisville. But then when I got back to town later on that evening, I got dressed, went and got her. We went and got something to eat. Now she was really excited about going to the junior prom because she went to a different school than I did. I didn't really give a shit. But she was dressed up. She looked delicioso. But I remember through the night, it didn't take long before her mood changed. And I thought it was me. And we're having fun. I'm out doing my thing, politicking, being social. And at that time, people just kind of gravitated toward me. So I could hold court. We got to the hotel later on and had a serious conversation. And I was like, wait, this ain't how this is supposed to go. And we agreed to break up because her sickness was getting more intense. It was getting more severe. It was getting more serious. And as she watched me walk around the room and hold court, and she decided the best thing for me was to let me go. Because we were too young. I didn't sign on for what she had coming. I didn't sign on for going the distance with her as far as her sickness. I mean, this was going to require some hospital time and the whole nine. And, a teenage boy, I don't want to hear that. And I was like, no, I'm going to be there for you. And I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And of course, that's what you think. You love this person that you with. And she just wouldn't hear of it. I remember the next day, the news that we broke up went damn near viral in the hood. How could I break up with her? Now, other people who had been around for years knew that she was sick. I didn't know. I was just finding out. And everyone thought that I knew, but I didn't. When I found out, I was like, I'll stay with her, but everyone else was like, when we broke up, she was sad. She was sad. She's the one that let me go. But the narrative became that I broke up with her. I broke her heart because I was a player. I was a dog. I was this, I was that. And then right after that, she got like really sick, went into the hospital. And unfortunately, she didn't make it. She didn't come back from the hospital this time. feel like that's the first time I've told that story, and it still hurts my heart to this day. And a lot of people said it was my fault and would not forgive me. I broke her heart, and that's what made her take a turn. But the hardest thing was for me to forgive myself. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steve, nupefromdaville. We're here to talk about Doctor Who Season 8, Episode 11, titled Dark Water. I'm going to call this media therapy deep dive, The Power of Forgiveness. Now, if you've been rocking with me for a little bit, you know that I'm not doing any long recap. It's going to be short and sweet. If you want to see my full reaction and the discussion that we have, go into the description and click on the link that says episode this analysis is based on, and you can see the full video between Centel and myself. In the last episode, we really got a kind of a heart-to-heart between Danny and Clara, and Danny told Clara to get a little bit of clarity, take some time. And so Clara calls Danny to tell him the truth about she's been lying to him and traveling with Doctor Who all this time, and just to tell him how much she loves him, like she's ready to let it go. Sometimes you don't realize the worth you have in something until you lose it or until you're about to lose it. And she's like, you know what? I can't see myself without Danny. He tells her how much he loves her. She's trying to tell him on the phone, and for some reason he's coming out of the house and he's kind of looking around. He's backing up. For some odd reason, he backs straight up into the street and gets run over by a car and killed. Yeah, they did that. They killed Danny. Clara's on the phone when Danny dies. She hears it. I mean, wouldn't it be cool if she knew, like, I don't know, a dude with a time machine and she could go back to the minute before he got killed? Like, that would be awesome, right? However, there's paradoxes, and there's concrete things that have to happen. And the doctor tells Clara, no, we can't go back. You can't cross lines. Clara goes like suicidal. She goes like, Unabomber, and she takes a hypnotic patch and she puts it on the doctor's neck to make him go back. The thing was, he saw it coming. A hypnotic patch doesn't really work on him, so he flipped it on her, put it on her, just to see how far she would go. What was her resolve? He tells her he'll help her find Danny. They go to a place called the Mausoleum. It's the 3W Institute, and they find Danny in the afterlife. The doctor and Clara meet Missy. She's in charge of this place. There's a scientist that they see these skeletons, and the skeletons are in this water. Tells them that after the dead die, their voices can still be heard in the white noise, and so they put the skeletons in the water. Thing is, it's all a ruse. What the water actually doesn't show you is the exoskeleton, which is a Cybermen. This is all a trick. And Missy has been jacking people's souls when they die and sticking them in Cybermen. Danny ends up meeting the young boy that he killed in Afghanistan on accident. And it changes Dad. It changes Danny. Clara calls Danny, but Danny's so racked with guilt that he doesn't want Clara to bring him back. He doesn't want the emotions that act in his life brought up. Danny ends up being deleted or being put into a Cyberman. Missy reveals her true self, that she's a time lady and that she's actually Missy reveals that she's actually the female incarnation of the Master, and Clara ends up getting trapped in Chain's laboratory with a bunch of Cybermen who are ready to kill her when Clara messes around and tells him she is the doctor. What? You know that I love my quotes and only have two. Now, this one is from Martin Luther King Jr. And he says that we must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. And the second quote, I'm not sure who wrote this. Forgiveness is the fragrance that the violet sheds on the heel that crushed it. Now, Google will tell you that forgiveness has the power to improve mental and physical health, relationships, and your overall well-being. It can also help people break free from the chains of resentment and guilt. Forgiveness is divine, and it's like one of the very few things that Jesus told people. So why is it so hard to do? It is extremely hard to let go of grudges, bitterness, resentment, guilt. There are people that are dead and gone that live rent-free in your head based on maybe something they did to you at an early part in your life, but because you have not forgiven them, they still live here. And maybe even more importantly, you still haven't forgiven you. Because that's the real hard one. We'll get to that. You know, they say that being able to forgive has all these health benefits. You can lower your levels of depression, anxiety, hostility, blah, 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 blah. Why is it so damn hard? The one thing that we got in this episode was that several episodes ago, in the Forest of the Night, last episode, Danny knew Clara was lying. He knew it. She tried to kind of fess up, and he said, hold up, think about it, and take some time, because I want you to be absolutely sure of the next thing you're going to say. And at this point, really, as much as Danny loved her, he was willing to let her go because she was living a lie. And he was just like, listen, I want to be with you, but I can't be with you if you're going to continually lie to me. So I want you to be sure of the life that you want. Is it with me? I've already told you, the doctor's dangerous. The doctor is like officers that I saw in the military. And they're not really about what the soldiers are about. It's a different level of responsibility, but also a different level of care. And most officers don't have that level of empathy for their soldiers. Danny had already made up in his mind to forgive Clara because he loved her so much that he wasn't going to let that put a hamper on his spirit, even though this woman had been lying to him. And not only lying to him, but lying to him and going on these adventures with the doctor that almost killed her each and every time that she went out. And then she would show up and be forgetful, be mindful, and still lie to Danny, even though he could tell that she wasn't on the up and up. When Danny died, Clara could not forgive the doctor, for one, for not taking her back in time to fix the mess that she had created. She couldn't forgive herself because this was the ultimate consequence. You can't fix what you have irretrievably broken. Now, the thing is, with forgiveness, you have to lay everything straight. You have to lay things bare. You know, it's beyond reflection, because you have to reflect on what you've done, what the other person's done, and then be okay. If they wronged you, Should they get, should they have restitution and should they make the wrongs right? Sure, but you can't force that. And you can't be hung up on that. Now, I'm not saying that everything goes back to normal and you just forget that it ever happened. No, you don't forget. But you do have to forgive. And if this is a person, if they cross the line in the sand that you're like, I cannot rock with you anymore, then it just has to be that. But you can forgive them. You don't want to wish no ill on them. So, and even though some people, a lot of people say it with their mouth, I forgive you, I forgave you. But once it all comes down to it, no, they didn't. They're still carrying a grudge. They're still carrying resentment. They might still be carrying guilt. They might have an envy, a hatred, a jealousy of you. They might have a whole issue with you. But they mistake putting it out of their mind. Is it actually being resolved? And it's not resolved. You didn't let it go. You just chose to not think about it anymore. My mother was incredibly wronged by my father. Now, I say that in saying that is a one-sided view. I was not in my parents' relationship. I know what I saw, and I saw with my own eyes the wrong coming from him. And I am in no means justifying what he did, but I don't know what my mom did, what she said, how any of that played out. All I know is I saw the end results. And from where I stood, 100% of the blame was with him. That may not be the case. And for the longest, I blamed the absolute mishandling of our family on my father. I blamed him and how I turned out due to the trauma of that situation on him. And some more situations that he put me in that, when I got free of that situation a little bit later, I was a young man, young adult. I talked to someone at my church and they told me about the value of forgiveness, and I forgave my father. I was like, listen, I was mad at you because of my mom, for real. That's not my right. I was a child and I didn't know what was going on. I just knew what I saw you did, and that, for all your talk of morals and values and integrity, you showed zero character, and I couldn't rock with that. I couldn't rock with what you did. It was wrong. For what you did to me physically, mentally, emotionally, I couldn't rock with that. What you did was wrong. However, people change, people grow, and I can't let that harbor in my spirit anymore. I gotta let that go. I forgive you. And what I learned in that is that we began to play a game of 3 card Monty. You ever seen like the people on the street and they move the little card or whatever, and then they pick up the card and the little, the coin, the little rubber band ball or something's under there? That's what we did, because that's how my father treated. Even though I told him I forgive him, and I meant it, 100% I meant it. No trickery. I meant it. My estimation. I'm not in his head. I don't know what he was thinking. But the way this game with him began to play out was, I knew it was an issue because he would not acknowledge it anytime I brought it up. So we could just talk, clear the air, get some clarity. When I say I forgive you, I forgive you. But that means that we should be mature enough now. I'm an adult. We can talk about what happened. Like, what was going on? Like, dude, was you sick? Like, what? Like, you wilded out for no reason. He would change the subject damn near immediately, not acknowledge it, and then find a reason to get off the phone with me or whatever. And a lot of our interactions, conversations became very one note. They were one direction. And I was like, you know, even though I forgive you, I don't have to play this game with you. You know, you don't want to acknowledge it. You don't want to, you know, and it may be a sore subject, but that means maybe you haven't forgiven yourself, my guy. You destroyed your family. You destroyed your children. For what? But if that's the case, then, dude, you need therapy. But, you know, he would come at me and, you know, say that he was so in tune to God and all that, but he knew I was into the church. So my dad has always been a damn near a grifter at heart. He's had the gift of gab. He's got a silver tongue. And when he says stuff, he always has an angle. And it got to the point where I started noticing what he would say and how he would say it. And it's almost like it was a game. And I was like, listen, I can't do this with you. My peace is that valuable to me. I'm going to keep my peace. And once I called him out on the game, he, you know, blew up. And, you know, to this day, we do not speak. I've reached out on holidays, on his birthday. We don't speak. He doesn't speak to me, even to the point where he told my younger brother that he only has one son, which is my younger brother. He speaks to my younger brother almost daily. I haven't spoke to him in several years. Now, that might be hurtful to a lot of people, and it's not hurtful to me. I think it's unfortunate that he doesn't know his grandchildren. I have 4 beautiful kids. He don't know them. He doesn't know my family, doesn't know any of that. And I've went through therapy to not only make sure that I really, truly forgave him. If he called me right now, I would talk to him. I don't harbor any ill will. I don't know what was going on with him. All I know is the way I believe, when your day comes and you have to answer, you're going to have to answer for that, on how you treated people, especially those closest to you. You're going to have to answer for that. That ain't on me. It's not on me. But I also had to make sure that I forgave myself. I had to think back to my girlfriend in high school, the one I talked about at the beginning. Did I forgive myself for that? I know how other people thought of me, but did I forgive myself? Because for a long time I didn't. I thought that there was something that I could do, something that I could have done to maybe give her more hope, to make her fight more, It's not on me. And all I can do is be thankful of the little bit of time that I did share with her, and that I got a chance to know her. And that's why it really, you know, seeing how my mom was done, seeing that relationship that I was in, really colored how I conducted myself and carried out relationships with women because of it. I had to forgive myself on, you know, wanting to please and seek approval from a father who didn't really give a shit and took every opportunity to belittle me and knock me down a peg or two and tell me that my worth, you know, that I wasn't even worthy of carrying a family name, you know, so much just evil spewed from his mouth. And it could have took me out, but it didn't. It had the opposite effect on me. It made me hungry, determined. You got me confused, old man. You know, and the thing is, it's easy to say because we judge so much by material. And Even though I've had some stuff, it was stuff. And now I got zero stuff. I'm broke as hell. You know, and it's easy for people to be like, see, I told you, you wasn't shit. But what does that mean, really? Does that mean I'm not because I don't have a bunch of material stuff? I had it. It doesn't make me. Would I like to have material stuff again? Yes, I would. But that's not for me. That's to help me better take care of my kids. Me striving, moving towards my goals, continuing to do this every day for you. That's success. Whether you see it or not. You know, everyone has their own cross to bear. I don't know what yours is. But at the end of the day, you need to forgive the people that wronged you and forgive yourself. This is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville. Make sure that you like, comment, share. Leave me some comments. Actually, I read all the comments. Leave me some comments. What did you think about this? The whole relationship between Clara and the doctor is probably at its most toxic level right now. And to me, no matter how nice Jenna Coleman, Clara is to look at, there's an ugliness in her heart, and she is very unlikable to me at this point. Can she be redeemed? Can we forgive her? Can you forgive yourself? If for some reason you haven't subscribed, hit the button, subscribe. Remember, every day, everything I do, I try to use this, but even more importantly, I try to use this.